Seems I'm not done yet. Seems I'm not done yet. This is for America, right? Like, so this is a young black man's point of view of America. Let's talk about. I'm not racist or anything like that. I mean, the last video. If you watched the last video, we was talking about young black Americans. This was for the community to help them think about their lives and what they should do to make changes in order to grow, within this country. I think the problem is right now is that young black people are alienated, but also, I mean, other races probably are too. But from my point of view, what I see, it's more or less the black community, and some nationalities are looked upon like like there's a problem, like people have problems with other races, but in the South, from like Virginia down, it just seems like that's where all the black people are. But at the same time, that's where all the white people are too. It's split up. It's like a mix. Anything above Virginia, like Northern Virginia and DC and up, it's more like I would say conservative. It's multicultural, lots of different nationalities, and they're more open to seeing different nationalities. They're kind of colorblind. They're not looking to put someone out, but at the same time, that's just the everyday streets. Like if you're out walking or whatever, you go in a store, they don't look at you wrong. If you go in the South and you go in the store and you're every black person is usually perceived a different in a different way down there. Like they just don't like us. You know what I mean? Like they're not gonna tell us to our face that they don't like us. But like if we went to get a job or if we're walking into a store, we get a look. I can't really even do the look for you because I don't really know how to look. I know how it looks when I see it. But it's usually people at our grandparents' age, or there's some people at in their 40s, 40s or 50s, sometimes late 30s. But I've also noticed that even the younger people, I don't know if their parents are telling them, to not associate with black people, but it just seems like every culture that comes into the U.S. has this perception of black people as, as bad, gangsters. They're gonna do you harm. They're wrong. They're a bad influence. They don't do women well in a relationship. They're not gonna raise their kids. That's what they look at us as, and that's not who we are. We are all different. I think of it as we just have to use race as a way to pick who we want to talk about as far as topic goes. That's the only reason why I'm using different races with white people. I grew up around a lot of white people. You could tell my accent is not, I don't really have much Ebonics in my vocabulary, so that means I was in a white neighborhood. But that's because my father worked really hard in order to get us, the things that we needed in life, and my mom was there also. So that's just the point, just to, let you know a little bit about me. But this is to most of the white people out there, there are white people out there just as bad as black people. So, and they call each other niggas too, you know what I'm saying? They're everywhere. So, there's different classes of people. I mean, maybe we should get into the classes of people and not say, what race they are. What really kills me sometimes is when I go fill out a job application and I look at a job application, you know what it says? It says, what is your nationality? And, I'm black, right? But at the same time, I'm light skinned, so I'm mixed with a couple of races, but at the end of the day I'm black because that's the color of my skin. So I was born this way. This is who I am. Who are you? And it's like you check that box and you might not go to the next round. You might not get an interview because you check that box. A lot of times I don't check the box. I leave it optional. When I fill out an application online And then I tell you what, like I go to an interview, and after the interview, a lot of times maybe I'm not picked because I don't fit in. Why don't I fit in? Because I believe it's because I'd be the only black person in there. You know, they're like, oh, so it's just gonna be weird or awkward, you know, and like to me, it doesn't get weird or awkward because that's how it is when I'm at work. I'm just used to it, you know, and I just feel that it's so wrong that I'm the only one there. You know what I'm saying? Like all these people grew up in the, you know, like all these people grew up in America. You know, like we're all going to the same public schools. We're all, you know, we're friends with the same people. You know, so when we get out of school, what happens is everything is split up right after high school. Like most of the kids go to college. Like, you know, nationalities go to colleges, right? No, a large percent of colleges are populated by white people, you know, and nothing wrong with that. Their parents just, you know, it's just information handed down generation to generation, and it's routine. So as their kids get older, they're like, okay, well, they know what time to have kids. They know, you know, what age to have kids at. They also know, they also have a foot in the door because they don't have to worry about the race card. And then the lingo, you know, it's so easy for them to fit in. And I'm a bit bothered because of the fact that, like, you know, I hang out with a lot of people, you know, in different nationalities. A lot of them want to be black, you know, and they like try to use slang, try to make it sound like they're black. And to me, like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's who they are. But at the same time, realize that guy may be white, but he's like black inside and out. You know, he's gonna talk black, you know, but then that's the perception, because I feel that that's kind of racist. Like, if you're trying to be someone that you're not, then it's like, you know, like, where's your identity? You know, use whoever you are, you know, be comfortable with yourself. Don't try to be like someone else. Be an individual. Because I feel like that they're making it like, oh, well, alright, so let's give an example. In high school, young white guy hangs out with a lot of young black guys. That's just the way they segregate themselves in high school. No idea why people segregate themselves in high school, but it looks like that happens a lot. You know, that's just the way teens are or whatever. So this kid wants to, like, you know, fit in. So he's gonna try to be bad. He's gonna try to go out and on a limb and do something in order to make himself popular. So a lot of times they go out and do something and get in trouble, and then, you know, a lot of times they come from a family where they have money, right? So then the kid's father will make sure they get a lawyer. They're not going to have a public defender. They're not going to jail. But I guarantee if that kid told his friends, or if he's hanging out with those kids when he's going through the act, those black kids, they don't have no one like that. You know what I mean? Black parents are working, but they don't really, you know, most of the time they're not going to get a lawyer. They're going to have a public defender. And you know what happens? That's on their record. And at the end of the day, same thing happens for credit. Credit is the same, man. Like, you know, it's because we're not educated enough to know that our kids at 18 still need to be supported as kids. Like, you're 18, you're a grown up. That's out there because they want people to fail. You know what I'm saying? They want people to think they have freedom to go out and do stuff. I mean, you do have freedom, but you're not as free as you think you are, you know? And fact of the matter is, like, it's a perception, like they've been saying in the news lately. I don't follow any of those, that whole Trayvon and Martin case or whatever. I really don't care about that right now. That is not the topic that we should be thinking about. We should be thinking about the subject of, you know, why are there still barriers up about race, you know, and like why are people still judging us, you know? Why can't I be a young black man that's educated and you know, do something with my life? How come every time I try to go do something better for my life, someone's looking over my shoulder to make sure that I'm doing what's right? You know, like, you don't see me looking over someone else's shoulder to make sure they're doing what's right, you know, as far as other nationalities go, right? Because I don't I don't look at them and be like, oh, that dude is hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna lock my doors because he's dressed with a long, with a hat and some baggy jeans and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, the baggy jeans thing, that's just was a style for a while. People had nowhere to go. They had to fit in. They had to fit in unless they want to get beat up. That's how life was growing up. Like, if you don't fit in, then you're gonna be an outcast. So we fit in, and then we become an outcast because we're in a group of people. And then once you're in that group, you're never getting out of that group. I mean, you can get out, but people in the community will never let you out of that group. Another thing I want to talk about is people that go to jail. Like, I have not been in jail, but when you go to jail, like, okay, the point is for jail is to rehabilitate yourself, right? You want to go back out into the economy and do something with yourself. But my thing is, when people go to jail and they come out, they don't go to work. They go back to the same life they had. Why do they do that? Because America is set up to where when you get out, if you do anything wrong, that's who you are. It's going to follow you for the rest of your life. If there's something on your record, then that's you. That's who you are. Your record is who you are. Now, the thing is, in America, the people that don't have anything on their records, does that make them any better than you? No, it doesn't. Because they could be just as fucking bad as you are. And to be honest, they're probably worse. And the reason why they're probably worse is because they got someone else cleaning up their messes. They have a lawyer. They have a family that has money and supports them, that is able to take care of those problems when they act up. And like, I believe that anything that happens like before you're 21 should not be on your record. Because I think between 18 and 21 is when you get that freedom, right? So then you go out and you do something because you think you're free. You don't want to listen to no one. No one's going to tell you what to do. So you can go out and do what you want to do. And when you do that, sometimes you break the law. And when you break the law, you're a grown-up. So at that point, you're going to jail, or you're going to have something on your record, and no one's going to defend you. You're out on your own just like you thought you were going to be out on your own, but not the way you thought you were going to be living. You're going to be living in a 9x10 or whatever the size of a cell is, you know what I'm saying? And that's fucked up because, think about it, these people 18 to 21, they're still kids. Look at them. They don't have a mortgage. They don't have a job. A lot of times they may have kids, but are they really raising their kids? And if they are, they're struggling. You know what I'm saying? So whatever trouble they've gotten into is because they're struggling, and they have no guidance. Who's going to guide these kids now? Like, where are they going to get guidance? A lot of people are not going to churches. They're not following religions. They are going online lots of times, and they're learning information from TV and the media. Like, that's what they see. That's what they learn. They're not trying to better themselves and find an education and all that stuff. They're just out there living life, and that's dangerous. You know what I'm saying? And even if it is dangerous, it's the fact that, like, they will smarten up. They will grow as a person. They will evolve at some point. But a lot of times it's when they want something. It's when they want to make an honest life, and then at that point it's after 21, and no one is going to hire you because they have set these rules and laws up in order to exclude you. So, like I said, credit and the background are the most important things once you turn 18. Now, you take it for granted until you're 21 probably. Then when you're 25, you're looking at like, oh man, I'm trying to correct all of these mistakes. By the time you're 30, your mistakes may be corrected, but at that point, people are, judging you. Just like police. Like, you go outside, like, I'll tell you the most corrupt situation that's going on today. The police on the highway, state troopers. State troopers, like, I don't think it's wrong to have a job, That's their job. They chose that job. But people that choose jobs sometimes don't like the job that they chose. It's not our fault you don't like the job that you chose. So then they feel that they're mad at the world because they're in a 9-to-5. They're doing a job they hate. And so they're going to make everybody else's life terrible. Especially the people that they just can't stand. Which is probably the people that they want to see in trouble, which is mostly people with colored skin, you know. And so they're like, oh, well, 9 times out of 10, if I pull a guy over that's black, he's gonna have baggy pants. Or if I pull a, you know what I'm saying, like, if it's the type of car that you're driving, they know that they're gonna get something out of this. And if they don't know it, it's just a guess, right? But once they've already pursued that guess, they don't really care if they've offended you or if they like were wrong on their guess. And who was gonna tell them that they were wrong? Who's gonna go back and like correct the police officer? Who's gonna be like, oh yeah, you were wrong for doing that. Like, you know, you just searched my car and you had no probable cause, but at the same time, you thought you were gonna find drugs in my car because I'm black, you know. So that has happened to me, just so you know. That's why I brought it up. And I had to get a public offender just in order to clear my name, because they pulled me over for no reason because I was driving while being black on the highway. And that happens so often. They try to pretend like I was speeding, but I got no ticket. If you ever get pulled over and you don't get a ticket, then you need to be quiet and wait for a lawyer. Call a public defender. Say, you know, you don't want to say nothing. You shouldn't. You don't have to say nothing. But at the same time, we got a right to speak, right? We have a freedom of speech. But why can't we say something to debate with a police officer, right? Like, we're not trying to make his life harder. We're trying to defend ourselves, but I don't understand why we can't say anything. But then that's the thing. Like, so then let's say it's a female in the car. Do you think that female is going to be treated the same way you are as a male? And I'm not saying you got to be black. You could be like, you know, any nationality, but you're, you know, dressed like a hood. You know what I mean? Like, and that perception means baggy clothes, you know, long tee and all that stuff. So there ain't nothing wrong with that. You choose to dress like that. You should be able to dress like that any kind of way you like, because this is America and we got freedom to do stuff like that. And I think it's messed up. But what I'm saying is that, like, girls, females, they're not going to have that problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to be, like, interrogated like that at the driver's seat. You know what I'm saying? They're just going to ask for their driver's license and let them go. Now, if it was an older white gentleman, they're going to treat them like a female. You know, they're going to ask for their ID, you know, their driver's license and registration, and that's it. They're going to let them go. Or they're going to give them a ticket. But I'm just saying, us nationalities out there, we're not going to get that same treatment. That is America right now as we speak, 2013. Like, you better believe it. And sometimes if you're a veteran, they give you a little courtesy. If you're in the military, they pretty much let you go, because, to be honest, most cops, they wanted to be in the military, but they couldn't get in somehow. So they picked to be a police officer. And that's what I was saying about how some people don't like their life, because they weren't able to make the choice that they wanted to make, which was join the military, and then they want to take it out on everybody else. And a lot of times it's the country areas. The country area, the more country the area is, the more problems you have as an outsider if you're from a different area, or if you're a nationality, which is, you know, any color except white. You know, like, you're in that country area with a new car, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna look for you to make any kind of mistake, have a broken tail light, anything. They will pulling you over and giving you a ticket and trying to search your car. You know what I'm saying? And that's just wrong. Like, I just wish we could check them. So I don't understand how that works. Somebody, you can write me and tell me how that works. But also, so that's not where I wanted to go with this, but it is a topic that needed to be talked about. And I just feel like people, you know, there's a lot of haters out there, and you guys know what haters are, I'm sure, but they just be hating on people just to be doing it. You know, it's like, a lot of people are just not happy with their lives, so they want to make someone else's life terrible. That's where drama comes in. You know, like, a lot of people end up being drama, and a lot of that goes out to the women. You know, like, you may not mean to be drama, but when you're with a man, you know, like, most people, like, you know, with jobs, you know, like, most men, let's say, alright, a man Man either has a job or he doesn't have a job. If he's got a job, then he's working hard, right? When he comes home, y'all need to be communicating on who's making dinner and all that stuff. Like, y'all shouldn't be eating out fast food and all that other crap. And, it shouldn't be no drama in the house. If y'all got drama, look how many people are on this planet. There are so many other people out there in the world. So why be with one person? You know what I mean? Like, I guess, like, it's good to be in a relationship. I'm saying I'm all for getting married, being in a relationship. But I'm saying you people out there that are dating, don't be with someone if you're dating that is not treating you right, or is that not trying to communicate with you. Communication is the key. That's why we all want to have a simple life. We want to come home. We want to be happy. We want to enjoy each other's time. We want to talk. You want to be excited when you come home to see that other person. And that's why you're in a relationship with them, because you enjoy every minute that you spend with them. So if you're not enjoying that time with them, then you need to be somewhere else, because there is somebody else out there for you, and you need to be looking for them. And I don't mean like going out there searching for them. I mean just like live your life, and they will find you, or you will find them randomly. Because when you're out there searching for people, you're not going to find nobody. What you're going to find is people you don't want to be with. Unless, you continuously solicit yourself, which kind of makes you look like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, there you could solicit yourself but not engage. You know what I'm saying? See how long time is what it is that you can find out who people are over time. So if you've been with someone in a relationship and it's been 5 years and they're not married to you yet, that means they're wasting time. As a female, that's what you're thinking. But as a male, you're like, oh, well, this is a comfortable situation. I love this person, and why do I need to go a step further? Well, to be honest, how are you going to begin your life? Look at your parents and look at your grandparents. If they're in a relationship, like if they're married and they've been together for like 10, 20 years, think about when did they start being together for 20 years? Like, when did they get married? And how long did they, how long were they together after they've been married? That's why they celebrate those anniversaries, 10, 20 years, because they've been together that long. Anything before that, do you hear them talk about it? Not really, because that was before they got married. And, once you get married, that's when you start a new life. So the women are waiting to start a new life. The men, they don't know that they're starting a new life. They think they're going to some unknown territory. So all you men out there, y'all should be thinking like you want to start your life too. And that means like you want to go after your dreams. Life is much more simpler when you are married and you're with the one you love. So you don't have to be stressed out and thinking about all that crazy shit that's going on and drama with each female that you meet or male that you meet. Like, it's going to be drama. Drama is inevitable. And when you're out there and you're like, having sex with people, y'all need to wrap it up, because you don't want no more kids, man. Y'all don't want 50 million kids out there with your DNA and shit, and then they're out there looking for you, because that ain't cool. Them kids, you got to look at it like this. If you're married and you got kids, they're looking up to you, right? If you're not married and you have kids, they're looking up to you, right? Do you want your kids to grow up thinking, oh, it's just me, one parent, or you want them to have two parents? And I'm not saying that you gotta go out and get married just because you got a kid, but it's important, because why are you gonna try to raise a kid by yourself? That makes no sense at all. If there's two people that made a kid, you need to be thinking about that before you make that kid. That when you make that kid is here. That kid's looking and watching and learning. And what are you going to do in order to raise that kid? You tell them that you love them every day and all that stuff. You say, like, that kid is the world to me. If it's the world to you, then you need to have a man in that baby's life, or a woman in that baby's life to give it some balance, because they ain't not going to. That's why everybody ended up being gay and stuff like that, because they're raised by one parent. So if a man's raised by a woman, they're going to be feminine, because that's all they know. All they know is how to do nails and stuff like that. Of a woman raised by a man, they're going to be a tomboy. That doesn't mean they're going to be gay, you know what I'm saying? But they will be knowing a lot more manly things, and if they don't find a match that knows, a man out there that knows how to do the manly things, then they're not going to settle down with them, because they're going to be like, oh, well, I'm more dominant than him. So it's like you got to find a mix. It's like if there's a womanly man and a manly woman, or a manly man and a womanly woman, They need to be together like that. They need to be matched up. Like opposites attract. Don't be the same. Like you can't have two pretty people together. I mean, not two pretty people, but two like feminine people together, or like, you know, really feminine, I guess, you know what I'm saying? But it just don't make no sense. Cause then how are those kids gonna grow up? Those kids gonna grow up like, you know, the other way. You know what I'm saying? They gonna do whatever you do. So remember that. And if you ain't trying to like go to school or be married and all that stuff, think about those things, because if you have a kid, you want those things accomplished before you do that. Because if you're not thinking about those things and you have a kid, then what are they going to do when they grow up? They're going to be just like you. No education and no marriage, you know? And then what are they going to do next? Like, what's their life going to be like? I guarantee if you're not married or whatever, then you have, or you can follow your career. That's another thing. But then you need education first. You know what I'm saying? Like, let that consume you before you have a kid. Let education and a career consume you, so then you can be in the best possible situation that you can be in before you have a kid, so that you can spend time with them. You know, and in my last video I was talking a lot about, you know, what to do and like what not to do and stuff like that. So you should be thinking about that seriously. It's a long video, 26 minutes. Shit. But you know what? Write a question down there at the bottom. Let me know what you want this next topic to be about, because I'm still brainstorming over here. Alright.